Hey, Brynne, have you seen Steel Magnolias?
Oh my god, yes, I love that movie.
Jonsey, you've seen it, right?
Hey, Tony.
Yeah.
You've seen Dracula, right?
Oh, I love that movie. It's so good.
Lena, you've seen it. What do you think?
Filmspringa!
Hey, Brynne, have you seen Weekend at Bernie's?
Oh my god, Weekend at Bernie's saved my life.
Jonsey, you have to have seen it.
Oh my god, no, I haven't. Of course not. You've seen Nightmare on Elm Street. It's the best.
That movie scared the out of me when I was a
Lena,
kid.
did it scare the out of you? I have not seen that one, and I will be praying for all of your souls.
It's your Rumspringa, Lena.
Hasn't seen it.
It's showtime!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Filmspringa! The podcast about all of your favorite films and your shelter friend that's never seen them. I am one of those, Tony. Here with my other host. Say hi, Brynne.
Brynne. Hey, guys.
Hey.
I've seen a lot of movies.
Yes, you have. And our sheltered friend that we love dearly, Jonsey's here. Say hi, Jonsey.
Hi guys, I'm Jonsey.
a.k.a. Lena. I know, we'd put you Lena, and then it was a.k.a. Jonsey, but you end up becoming Jonsey on the show whenever we do
Yeah,
it.
I guess Lena, Jonsey, hey ho, you know.
No answer to any of those. So, you guys,
This
this
time
week...
of year, hey ho ho ho.
So, you guys, this week, the film we are reviewing and going to talk about for the next hour is one that Jonsey hasn't seen, and some will say is one of the greatest action films ever made and a must-see every Christmas season. It is the 1988 action flick Die Hard. The original Die Hard is what we are going to talk about tonight. This film, to start it off with, I forgot how long it is.
I was delighted. And I thought, you know what? If you're going to die, die hard.
Die Hard.
What does that even mean?
I know.
And I'm not going to die easy, like a little easy baby.
Easy
I'm
little
going to die
baby.
hard.
Did you see that one of the sequels was Die Hard,
Harder.
Die Harder.
Yeah. There were 5 sequels to this. Like, right?
Die harder,
5.
die trying.
Die Trying. So, yes, we're going to talk about Die Hard. But before we get into the film, we're going to watch the trailer. Get everybody in the mood.
Yes, I'm
for
very
Die
excited for
Hard.
this trailer.
Yeah, it's an action-packed trailer. Let's watch that now. Today, at some point.
We thank you one
There
and
we
all
go.
and wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
It's Christmas Eve in L.A. But a team of terrorists
You want money? What kind of terrorists are you?
Who said we were terrorists?
have their own holiday plans.
And I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to kill me.
Okay. We do it the hard way.
But the one thing they didn't plan on was New York cop John McClane.
Got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. Who knew? You really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, mother...
And you'll have it.
They have already killed one hostage.
This channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
Lady, do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
Come to Papa, honey.
You really an American?
Only if New Jersey counts.
What does he think he's doing?
Job.
They're using artillery on us.
You idiot. It's not the police. It's him.
He's an easy guy to like
Welcome to the party, pal.
and a hard man to kill. Bruce Willis, Die Hard.
Talk about a broy trailer. Oh, I was excited that we covered this film this week because I literally have not seen this in years.
I forgot how much I loved it.
Yes. Brynne, what were you doing before the show?
Okay, for full disclosure for everyone
disclosure.
watching and everyone listening, that I was at my office holiday party beforehand and I drank a lot. So you guys are going to get a full-on drunk Brynne tonight, which is
Yay.
very
It's actually very fitting for the film that you had a company
I
holiday
was at a
party right
company
before
holiday
the
party.
show.
You're right. I was just method. I was Daniel
Method.
Day-Lewising tonight.
Yes.
And you're welcome.
So let's see
So-
if you can get through the plot of this film,
Oh,
Brynne. Give our audience a
100%.
quick
So-
rundown.
I will tell you guys that I watched this movie on a date. And
Okay.
Another date movie.
Yeah, last week was a date movie too.
another date movie.
Okay, let's hear the
And,
plot.
I was like screaming out to
Uh-oh, do we freeze? I think we did.
I had not
we are.
realized was they tie everything up so beautifully. So it is about John McClane. He's got a giant teddy bear. He
Yeah.
is going to the West Coast to see his family. He's a New York cop. Okay? You know what? It doesn't matter where his sassy wife wants to take the family. He is going to visit them with a giant teddy bear. Okay? And gets on the plane, gets out there, goes to Nakatomi Towers.
Yeah.
And I was screaming to my date a lot, Chekhov's limo. Because he bonded with this limo driver very much. So
Argyle,
for those
right?
of you guys that don't know.
Yes.
So the Chekhov's gun theory is that if you introduce a gun in the first act, you better use that gun by the time the play has wrapped up. So they spent so much time talking about this limo driver that in the first act, I had forgotten a lot about this movie, and I was screaming Chekhov's limo. You gotta use this limo.
Oh, because they introduced the limo
They
at the
introduced
beginning.
it so hard. Him and Argyle
Oh,
bonded
okay. I know where
so
you're going.
hard
Okay.
in the beginning of this movie, and I had forgotten. And I was like, "This is Chekhov's limo. Okay, you gotta use this limo." And they kept interspersing
The
so his
limo.
So Argyle, his limo driver, is introduced very early on. Then John McClane gets to the towers, and there's like a bunch of there's like a waterfall in a penthouse. And then there are some terrorists. But we don't know. Are they terrorists are they just
robbers?
Robbers, burglars, robbery. Who knows?
I mean, they came with guns and explosives. I think they're terrorists.
They wanted you to think that they are terrorists, but they are just robbers. They're just armed robbery. This is what it is, armed robbery. Okay, and then there's Hans Gruber, which is Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And John McClane, being the tough New York cop that he is like not just gonna get taken in by a bunch of C4, and he is gonna make tiny fists with his feet and go through air ducts and change his wife beater halfway through, which we need to talk about this.
Yeah, we will.
Did he change, or did it become soaked in like grease?
That is not
blood,
a real
smoke?
thing that happens. And then it's gone. Okay, so John McClane is like, I'm a New York cop. It doesn't matter how many sophisticated Belgium, German / vaguely European people you have working on this. One New York cop is gonna get it done. Okay, so this New York cop is going into the air vents, and he is getting it done. And so with the help of one New York cop and one boots on the ground, Carl Winslow.
Yeah, from Family Matters.
They will solve this crisis and save, I guess, John McClane's family, and also an indictment of the U.S. journalistic system. Like journalists. Okay, journalists go. There's like also an indictment of what journalists will go through, and paparazzi, and then also feds. The FBI will come in and mess things up, and also
Or just die.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Well, there's going to be a lot of spoiler alerts on this one.
I guess this is really an indictment of bureaucracy.
Wow, she's thinking a lot about
journalism.
Yeah.
When really it's just Bruce Willis being a badass
for 2
while
hours,
wearing no shoes.
little over 2 hours. Yeah.
At Christmas time.
At Christmas time.
Christmas?
Totally
It
a
all
Christmas
takes
movie.
place on Christmas Eve. And so the film.
Was that okay?
Yeah, that was very interesting plot summary of this movie.
I don't know what else to do. It's the opposite of Breakfast at Tiffany's, where I was just like, they have fun and that's it.
Yeah, it's
I feel
where
like I
we
could
were
see
like,
the
we don't
whole-
know what the plot is, but it's a great film. Where this
I
one,
could spend the whole podcast.
right? So the film did very well in the box office. It made it had a budget of only 25 to 35 million, but made between 139 to 141 million. And this put Bruce Willis, this was catapulted his career. And so did Alan Rickman. This was his first movie debut and like set his career in film
for
after this.
him.
Yeah.
Everyone do their Alan Rickman. Where was he from?
Dogma.
Dogs, you can see. I go to. I want to say it's the BBC version of Pride and Prejudice that I originally saw him in.
Yeah.
What about you, Brynne?
This.
This
Him doing this. Him doing when he was doing that American accent.
Oh yeah.
I was like, are you pretending to be a Swedish man? Pretending to be an American, I don't know what's happening. But when he was like, yeah, he sounded like Matthew McConaughey.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So Alec Rickman plays Hans Gruber, and so this film was directed by John McTiernan, and written by Jeb Stewart and Stephen DeSalzia, I think that's how you say it. Yeah, there you go. So the director actually saw Alan Rickman in a stage production of Dangerous Liaisons in the UK, and he was playing the villain in that, and that's what got him cast in Die Hard. Because there were so many actors up for the part of the villain in this one. So I thought that was cool. Right? And Die Hard was nominated for 4 Academy Awards. Did you know that?
It's such a good movie.
It is.
I was screaming.
It's a great.
Lena's making this face. I was screaming.
What was
to
it
my
nominated for?
Good.
Let me see if I can pull it up. But I think
I
it
was screaming. I was screaming to my date. Good storytelling. Good storytelling. Everything came back. The Rolex came back.
At the very
Chekhov's
end.
limo driver came back.
Did you get a second date? Because it sounds like you were screaming a lot through this movie.
I loved your interpretation of this movie. We can never see each other again. No.
Wait, I want to know how the date went.
He brought up something to me that I had not realized.
What?
He goes, because he was talking about the European, my date, was talking about how he was like, hey, he had the cigarettes. And he goes, I bet you every time he takes a cigarette out, we can count how many bad guys there are left that he kills.
Oh.
And I was like, what are you talking about?
Because they were German cigarettes, and that's a tie line through the whole film, too. The German
and then
cigarettes.
when he offers Hans Gruber,
Uh-huh.
It's the last cigarette.
Yeah, that's right. I'd even pick up on that.
And I said, what? I never picked up on that.
Brynne's like, what? That's amazing. We're never seeing each other again.
I was like, get out of my house. I'm taking credit for this.
So it was nominated for Best Visual Effects, Best Sound Mixing, Best Film Editing, and Best Sound Editing was what it was
makes
nominated.
sense.
Yeah.
When you saw it down.
That makes
So
sense.
you
And
know
that totally, I believe it for 1988.
Yeah.
That was pretty stellar work.
And Bruce Willis was paid $5 million, which kind of $5 million for this part for being a really big action star, because he was only doing Moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd at the time, and that's where I remembered him from, because my mom used to watch Moonlighting when we were kids.
Yeah.
But he did most of his own stunts, and that stunt where he's on the fire hose and he swings, he did the fall, and and during that explosion he lost his hearing permanently or partially in one of his ears doing the stunt. But he was paid $5 million for this film, which kind of set ripples through Hollywood, because a lot of other directors and producers were scared that other not so famous A-list actors were going to start demanding
Dolph
this money.
Lundgren
Yeah, this type of money for films, and was going to cause like big ruckus. But yeah, $5 million is what he was paid for the film. And you know that scene where he falls down the ventilation shaft? That was actually a stunt double who missed the original landing and kept falling, and they kept that in the film. And then the scene where he's crawling through is right after that, through the vents.
It's like in Poltergeist where they use like actual skeletons and like
yeah.
isn't that fun?
Of dead people.
Yeah, they're like, isn't this fun?
Right?
And you're like, no, that's bad.
So Brynne, when was the very, very first time you've ever saw this film, and what did it mean to you? How old were you? All of that. Let's get into it.
In a move surprising no one, I saw this as a child.
Okay, I am not surprised. How old were you? How old were you?
I think I was like 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's not
When
bad.
this movie
Not
came
bad. Not bad.
out, yeah, I was like 10 years old when I first saw this movie.
And how did it sit with you? Do you remember loving it
I
or
just
not?
thought it was like super badass. So this like sort of set the standard, and I think this is like a little bit framed my sexuality.
I was gonna ask. Okay, let's get into the horny level of this film.
Horniness level. Okay.
We need some theme music for that.
I know we do some like really bad 70s porn music.
So the horniness level of the movie is like none.
Yeah.
Nothing. But the internal Brynne horniness level is high because he's like a Han Solo type
Okay.
character, which is like this like badass dude that's sort of like reluctant and coming in and like, I'm gonna save everyone, but also I'm sort of sarcastic and funny, which is like a horniness level in of like, I am attracted to him, but also I see myself in him. Because my sexuality is sort of like a begrudgingly beleaguered man.
That is the weirdest description.
Who is like sort of like, yeah, let's do this, but also I'm sarcastic.
Yeah.
So like sexually I identify with Bruce Willis in this movie. John McClane and I are the same. So
the same sexual beasts.
Yes. Sexuality wise, if you were to ask where I was on the spectrum, I would
John
say
McClane.
Yes.
I don't remember seeing that on the Kinsey scale, but
I don't either, but hey.
Let's change it.
You learn something every day.
And I remember thinking like he's trying to win back Holly.
Yeah.
And that's super good because she's got really curly hair.
Real curly hair.
Also, did you see at the end, like, so she's wearing this pink business blazer through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And at the very end, when Hans Gruber like realizes who she is, all of a sudden that blazer is burst open and we see Brazier. Not boobs.
Yeah, boobs. And they're like, oh, now we gotta see her boobs. Now she's a sexual being.
I just was like, what? When did that happen?
Yeah.
She was running down the stairs. She had to, get comfortable.
But when I was young, I just remember him going through the air ducts, which made me think that no matter what happens in life, you can escape through an air duct, which we all thought growing up.
Yes.
Everyone thought this growing up. No matter what happens, you can get out there.
That is like an iconic scene, him crawling through the air ducts, and he's like, yeah, come to California. Yeah, it's going to be nice.
Have a good time.
Have a good time.
But we all know now that every single human person, when they're stuck in a place, looks up and thinks, I can get out through the air ducts.
And it's because of Die Hard. It's because of Bruce
Die Hard.
Well, and I felt like that was an that's what this is from moment for me.
Really?
When he was in the air duct saying that was totally that's what this is from.
Oh, that's so good. You're like, now I get it. Now I get it.
Well, and there's also been a lot of things, like I think Seinfeld had a thing where George gets stuck and he starts
in the air duct and he's
in the air duct. And like I think there's been other times of that in other different forms of entertainment that now it's like, oh.
You're like, I get it now.
Yeah.
Oh man. But Brynne, did you kind of fall in love with this film as a kid and then it kind of just stayed
Yes.
with you all through
As
the
a
years?
child, and I guess I never. So this is like been a big resurgence of
Yeah.
that. This is a Christmas movie, and I never thought of it as a Christmas movie. I always thought
Really?
of it as a action movie.
Yeah.
But like, when did you first see it, Tony?
I probably saw because it came out in '88. I didn't watch it till I was probably in high school. I think like around 16, 17. And of course, I was like, this was on the no fly list for our family. But if, like everything else, I snuck and watched it. I remember I had the biggest thing for Bruce Willis. He was one of the actors that I did because of Moonlighting, because I used to love that show because it reminded me of my mom. She loved that show with Sybil Shepherd. If you guys don't know Moonlighting, go check it out. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube somewhere. But I always thought he was like really sexy, like back then. Now he's still, I guess so. But I remember watching this and not thinking Bruce Willis was your typical action star. Because at the time, if I remember right, it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Stallone were like the big action stars, and then here's Bruce Willis, who's like an everyman, and
Yeah.
he's like barefoot through the whole film. But there was something really, really sexy about it. You know what I mean? But this, I remember when I watched this film for the first time, I genuinely, truly enjoyed it because it was such a action-packed film, and most of it was because of Bruce Willis. I just thought he was great in it. I thought there was some really funny lines like "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfuckers!" That stayed with me forever. Like, "Now I have a
Yes.
machine gun, ho ho ho!" Yeah, all of those. And then the Bubba line that he says, he's like, "Hans, boobala," or whatever. Yeah. So I had it. I think the last time I watched this was probably in my 20s, and I still remember loving the film. And I've watched the sequels. I've watched, I think, most of them. But watching it again now, like this week, revisiting it, it took me back to like high school when I was into like all the action.
So many times I looked over at the guy I was watching with, and I go, Bruce Willis is a good actor.
Yeah, he's good in this. I like him in this film.
I go, he's charming.
Yeah.
This is charming.
And most of what I found interesting was most of the film, like they had a script, but a lot of it was rewritten during the process of filming.
During it, because they were figuring out what worked
and what didn't.
Bruce Willis's charm was so effervescent that they were like, this is a much different character than we thought it would be. Like, this isn't a gruff sort of guy. It's more of like a funny, like, guy that rolls with the punches,
like an everyman guy is kind of how he was.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, and every guy.
But the film is based off of the book. They're the book. What is the book's name? I just had it written down and I lost it.
Well, so did you guys know?
Here, I'll find it while you talk. Go ahead, Brynne.
That technically they had to contractually offer this role to Frank Sinatra,
who was 73 at the time, right?
What?
Yeah.
Because
there it is. Okay, so the novel was Nothing Lasts Forever was the original novel. It was based off, and the reason why because Sinatra starred in the 70s book that came out before Nothing Lasts Forever, which is Detective something, I believe that book was.
So
but
it was
Sinatra,
in his contract because this was based on the book that he got first grabs at all of the sequels.
Yeah. So,
and this was technically, they took the book and turned it into a screenplay and then messed around with it. But because they still had the copyright on it, they had to offer it to Frank Sinatra first when he was like 73.
They're like, we
and
got
very
off
nice.
with him.
He said no.
Yeah.
Thank goodness he said no.
I know. Can you imagine Sinatra trying to do it at 73?
If that was Bruce Willis, he'd be like, yes, no, I'm doing it. Fuck you guys. No, you don't get
exactly.
to do this.
But the other thing that was interesting with this film, especially when it comes to the casting, but like De Niro was offered the film. Arnold Schwarzenegger, just pretty much all the heavy hitters in Hollywood at the time for action films. And the film was written for Arnold Schwarzenegger as the lead. But I just can't imagine the film without
That's
Bruce
why it
Willis.
wasn't as clever and witty before, and they had to add in more
Yeah.
bits.
Yeah. Wow.
They were like, he can't do that
He
stuff.
can't do that. He can't do it. We gotta
Let's
we gotta
rewrite.
Exactly. But yeah, the filming, it all took place like what I found interesting was, you know how a lot of the side characters, like the police officers, they all had like their side little stories within the film that they kind of flushed out instead of the big story of what's happening with Bruce Willis's character is because
Take that, Trump.
I know, because Bruce Willis, at the time of filming, during the day, he was filming Moonlighting, and then at night, he would film Die Hard. So he had like a jam-packed schedule. So the way the directors and the writers got around it was during the filming to flesh out a lot of the other storylines, like with the news reporter, that whole thing, and then with the FBI storyline, and then his buddy cop Al, that only him and the character of Al never have met, even during the filming. The first time they met was when they shot that last scene.
Aww.
Bruce Willis and him, yeah. And most of Bruce Willis's scenes were by himself and talking into a radio, so he didn't really...
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All that much more impressive that he's just acting alone and still being that charming and personable. And
what happened to Bruce Willis's acting, do we think?
Cockiness.
Yeah.
Laziness.
What did she say? Lazy. Because Alan Rickman had a great career up until he unfortunately passed away. He was
Bruce Willis. So many times during this movie, I said, Bruce Willis is an actor.
You seem so surprised.
I was like, what? Okay. I don't come after me.
Come on, Sixth Sense. He was good in Sixth Sense.
But I'm thinking, what happened to him? Like, for real?
I wonder what he
got
did
old and tired.
Right after
Don't
this.
come after me, Bruce Willis stands. I'm not knocking him. I'm saying something happened.
You guys, she is.
Demi Moore left him.
And they were dating at the time of the film. They were together.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I turned to my date several times and I said, Bruce Willis is an actor. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, no, we're talking about different things. He's like, yeah, obviously.
We're talking about different things.
I said,
I really want to know if there's a second date.
I do too.
Actor.
He's probably like, this girl.
He's like, you've got to journal out during Die Hard. We're not okay.
You were taking notes?
Yes, of course.
For this show.
It's okay.
Oh,
very serious.
Did
So
you recognize, the female anchor woman in the movie? Did you recognize who she's from? Where she's from?
Yes.
Who is she? What
Is,
film was she in? One of my favorite films of all times. Do you remember? Come on, Brynne. Come on.
No, she's
Mary
really
Ellen
different things with
Trainer
the curly hair.
No, not the wife. The blonde.
No, the blonde anchor woman. She's from Scrooged.
Yes.
She plays the woman that massages his shoulders.
Goonies. She's the mom in Goonies.
No.
Yes, she is. She's the mom in Goonies. Mary Ellen Trainor. Yeah.
Goonies.
Yeah.
And she's from Scrooge as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was like a lot. The characters that really bothered me in this film. All of the cops besides the Al character.
I
but
enjoyed it because I'm like,
cops were so annoying.
Well, because
it
I'm
seemed like they didn't want to do their job. Like
I was like, you lazy motherfuckers. Come on now, pull it together.
But viewing it from a lens now, we're like, shit, we should have been paying attention to this stuff more before,
Yeah. Yeah. You know what other character got me? The cocky guy that was trying to crack the safe. Ooh, I remember when I first watched this when I was a teenager and I couldn't stand him and I still couldn't stand that character. Drove me crazy. I was like, why is nobody shooting him?
They wouldn't listen to Carl Winslow.
No, nobody listened to Carl Winslow. Hello.
And then that one dude was like, we're going to go in no matter what. And then the FBI took over and he turned his hat backwards. And I was like, oh yeah, this is because we have a bunch of toxic masculinity.
Yes.
And
there was a lot of that in this
warning
film.
us beforehand, before we knew what was happening. They were warning us, and we were just like, funny. Bruce Willis is funny.
That's what you got at Bruce Willis is funny.
And we listen. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it is halfway through the show. So you guys, you know what that means? It's time for name drop.
Let's start. Dolly Parton. Rachel Maddow. I spend an hour with her every single day.
I once played a drinking game with
Celine Dion, Liza Minnelli. Cher. Laura Dern. I don't know her.
Who would you say is the most famous person in your phone?
My good friend Ben Affleck and his crippling addiction to back tattoos.
I have the best Lady Gaga story of all time.
Hate him, loathe her, over them, cancel it, tell me everything.
Yes, it's time for name drop, our little segment that's kind of like 6 Degrees. So who is it? Who are we going to pick for this one? Which actor or actress from this film, Die Hard, are we going to pick, and which one from our next film?
So I already thought of one.
Who?
Which is the person that is in here and
You just, no, that's fine. Drunk Brynne, that's fine. You give away the next movie. That's fine. Surprise! Okay, so you can't pick the same actor that's in both films.
And that's what I said. You can't pick the same actor.
Yeah. So who? Okay, let's start with Die Hard. Who are we going to pick from Die Hard?
So we already did Alan Rickman. We have to do Bruce Willis, right?
Bruce Willis.
Like, who else is in this that?
Regional Val Johnson, the dad from Family Matters. That would be a hard one, though.
Yeah, but he does more TV. Like, the only other stuff he did is Die Hard 2.
Okay, yeah. So it has to be
let's do Bruce Willis. Since he was a star of this film and this is what catapulted his career as a megastar in Hollywood, we're picking Bruce Willis. And then our next film, which Brynne slipped, is going to be Scrooge, the 1988 film Scrooge with Bill Murray. So who from the cast of Scrooge are we going to pick to do? I have a feeling this is going to be a really easy one this week.
Don't.
Well, because it's the same year. Yeah. So like all these people were all kind of working together already or would be soon or whatever. So
that's true. Yeah.
I mean,
we can do Karen Allen. Right?
Karen or Carol Kane.
Carol Kane. I love Carol Kane. She's so funny. Should we
I
try
don't know
that?
who these people are by name.
Yeah, let's do Carol Kane.
Let's do Carol Kane.
Okay.
Carol Kane and Bruce Willis are the ones we're going to try to connect by the end of the show. We will see if any of us have gotten it. Or if you're watching, listening, let us know how you got the connection between those two actors. So now it is time to get Miss Jonsey's opinion on Die Hard, because this is the first time you've ever seen this film.
Yes.
Right?
And I loved it.
Okay.
And the biggest thing that I am flabbergasted at, and I need conversations. I need people to explain this. How is this not a Christmas movie? Like, from
a lot of people say it is. Like, there are people that we on our Instagram that had said when we had posted that this was a film we're watching this week, we're like, I watch it every Christmas. It is my go-to Christmas movie.
It is so Christmassy all the way down to the end when the paper is falling like snow.
Right.
And ambulance lights are and police lights are twinkling like, like this is a Christmas movie. There was even a fight out scene that they did to like, I think Carol of the Bells.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a Christmas movie. Like, it's not just, okay, here's what I said to my hubs, because although he also is like, this is a Christmas movie, quit trying to preach to the choir.
He's like, I know.
He's like,
you don't have to tell me.
But okay, so if this is just an action movie, then Home Alone is just a home invasion movie. What makes Home Alone a Christmas movie? That it's set at Christmas time and they use Christmas implements in the chaos of the movie. That's what happens here.
Yeah.
No, I never thought that Lena's husband would say something so profound.
Right?
I said this to my husband.
Oh, you educated him.
You are right.
I'm just saying
you are right.
he was saying, you don't have to preach to me. I'm on your side.
Yeah. Well, the thing that's cool about this it is a Christmas movie, and Christmas, the theme of Christmas is sprinkled throughout the whole film.
The
Which
whole
I love.
film?
The whole film from beginning to end. It's Christmas.
And now I have a machine gun too. Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, hello. So Jonesy, if you were to have watched this movie, we're gonna get to that book in a minute, Brynne. But Jonesy, if you had watched this movie as a kid, how would it have flown in your household with Mama and Papa Jones and you as a kid compared to watching it now as an adult?
So the only version I would have been allowed to watch is like the made for TV version where they're like, yippee-ki-yay, Father Christmas. Or like, like something like that.
Yeah.
I was allowed to watch some action stuff. So if this was a made for TV movie or version where they like, do all the corny overdubs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then the action wasn't anything over the top or overly gory or anything like that. There was no sex in this movie other than a little bit of her brassiere.
No, there was a one little snippet when they're going through the office, the terrace, and the two are having sex.
I did not like that.
Did you know?
And there was some cocaine use.
Yes. Did you know that the girl in that scene was one of the Playboy models, I think from our March or something like that? And in the opening scene through the airport, the one woman that jumps on her husband, do you remember her boyfriend in the white? Do you guys remember this?
Yeah.
Another Playboy model.
He's like LA.
Yeah. He's like, or does he say California or LA? One of them.
I didn't like the way they dragged her out.
Yeah.
Cover herself. I didn't like that. I thought it was unnecessary. And that is the one thing that dinged this movie for me. I thought, no.
You're like, gross. Don't like you.
I thought it was gross. Yeah.
No, I agree.
Again, the TV version would have cut that scene and cut the scene where he's doing coke off the desk. So,
Yeah.
I know. I like that.
That character drove me crazy. What is his name?
No, because the entire time he was acting, I thought this is exactly how someone on coke would act.
Yes.
I thought, yes, this is the realest part of this movie. That someone would be like, Booby, come on, let's make a deal. And he was like, yes, let's talk. Yes. And it's exactly how someone on coke would act.
Did you know Alan Rickman was terrified of shooting a gun, and every time he did in the film, he flinched. So the director had to keep cutting away from it. And the only time, when he the scene where he kills the head of the company, for a split second in the film, when he shoots, before the camera pulls away from Alan Rickman, you can see him flinch from shooting the gun. And the scene where
he's just a pacifist.
I know. And the scene where at the end, when his character Hans dies and he's out the window, so he was doing that stunt, and the stunt choreographer was like, okay, I'm gonna release you on 3, and he released them on 2. So that reaction is 100% fear. Genuinely fair from Alan Rickman.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how you
no acting required.
No acting required.
Poor guy.
Yeah. What did you Jonesy, so what else from this film surprised you? Because this film is pretty iconic, and there's a lot of famous lines, famous action stuff that comes from this film, and you watching it for the first time, which is so bizarre that you've never seen Die Hard before. What other things did you take away going, oh shit, that's what this is from?
Yeah.
So the big one was the one in the air duct vent kind of thing. And then the nice suit, shame to ruin it. I feel like I've heard that in so many things. Following, or not suit, but nice fill in the blank, shame to ruin it. And so I really was like, that was one of those. Welcome to the party, pal. Whenever he's on the walkie with I think the cops or the FBI, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I think it's when Al is finally there and they start shooting at him. And he's like, welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah.
He's already been dealing with that. Yeah, there were a lot of really fun lines that I was like, I've heard this before.
The one that always sticks with me is yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yes.
That one
I didn't
always
know that was
sticks
from
in me
this
from the
either.
film. Yeah.
So I watched this on a date, and there was like a point where something happened, and he was like, "Oh my god, that is where this is from," and it was "Send in the Car."
Send in the car. Yeah.
And he said, "We make fun of this guy in my fantasy football league all the time because his name is Carr." And we say,
His
"Send in the
name
car."
is Carr?
His name is Carr, and everyone's always making fun of him. And I thought that they were just saying, "Send in the car." Like,
You didn't know
that's where this is from? And I was like, yes, I just exposed you to this. And he goes, "Oh my God, I have to tell all my friends that I just figured out that Send in the car is from this." Yes.
Oh, man. That's funny. I have a question for you. So, for both of you, if let's say you were at a company party like this, and this happened, how would you survive? What would you do in a situation like this? Would you be like, fuck it? Or would you try to get out of there like Bruce Willis did?
I would like to think that I would try and sneak away and hide because I don't feel safe with the group.
Yeah.
But in reality, I'd probably just already have been drunk at the Christmas party when it started. And so then I'd just be a hysterical drunken mess because I would be so inebriated.
I could see
I
that.
don't really know
I
what's
could
going
see
on.
that.
I don't want to go home.
See, I would have just grabbed booze, found a corner, and tried to hide and get sloppy drunk and been like, "Hey, if it's my time to go, by the end of the night, it's my time to go, but I'm going to be drunk as shit, so I don't remember it."
Hide.
That's what I would have done.
Write it out.
Write it out.
I said this to my date several times during the movie. I said, "I am a first waiver."
Yeah. I would have hoped to, like in this situation, I would have hoped to be at least a second waiver.
No, I'm a first waiver. I do a whole stand-up set about this. First waiver, and then I want to be a first waiver. I don't want to see my friend get killed. I don't want to see my friends get killed. I want to already be dead.
So when the zombie apocalypse does happen, you're going to be a first waiver?
Oh, I'm beyond a first waiver. I am the zombie. When you wake up,
you're running away.
I'm not even
trying to be like,
I'm the way that you wake up next to me, and I'm already a zombie.
See, I think I would last till at least. I would be a 3, maybe a 4 waiver in the zombie apocalypse because I love zombie movies and I've watched them all, and I think I would have good knowledge of what to do and not to do in that situation.
And I am the same, and I will say that I am the zombie that you wake up next to.
Yeah, I could see that happening. What about you, Jonsey? We already talked about this. You're a first waiver for sure.
I am a first waiver. I am very pale. I need lots of hydration. I get migraines very easily. I need air conditioning. Like, yes, I am a first waiver in all apocalyptic.
Producer Rob is about to show us a thing that says "Get back to the movie."
I know. Probably he's like, you guys are off topic again.
I'll get back to the movie. In this situation, I would be like, I am not a first waiver because they're picking off all the important people in the company, and that will never be me. I will always be lower man on the totem pole. So I'm like,
I don't know.
What if you were hyped up on a bunch of coke and you were like, "I'm gonna negotiate this shit"? Because if I were on a bunch of coke, I'd say that too.
You'd be trying to negotiate yourself out of the situation.
Negotiate what's up?
And that's why you're a first
waiver. Right there. That's the first waiver talking right there.
I'd be laying low going, no one's looking for the receptionist.
Yeah. I'd be like, janitor? Nobody's looking for the janitor. Bye. I'm out. Peace.
Wait, but Mama and Papa Jonsey, did they like this movie? Have you ever heard of this movie before though?
I am pretty sure that they watched this movie alone in adult time. Like, this seems like a movie right up my dad's alley, like very like action packed, shoot 'em up, that kind of thing. So I'm sure they watched it. I'm sure my mom made a comment on yippee-ki-yay motherfucker and was like, I don't like that.
Don't like that.
I'm sure those things happen, but my mom probably tolerated it. My dad loved it. My mom was probably glad that there was a happy ending.
Yeah. So this would have been on the no fly list for your family. This film,
but
right?
I think if I had come to them later as a teenager and expressed interest, they would have been like, okay. But it just, something in the end of the 90s, like a decade later, it wasn't on my radar. And we didn't have cable, so it wasn't something that was coming on the TV on holidays that it would come up. So but it came out in 88. I was 6. It makes sense why my parents didn't let me see it.
No, she's gonna have nightmares.
So that's just good parenting. Even Brynne saw it at 10. That's not 6.
That's not 6.
All right.
She was a mature 10.
She was already in the double digits. It's
I
fine.
know. She's fine.
That's a lot about my family.
So before we start getting towards the end of the show, I have one last question for both of you. In this film, what is your favorite part of the film? Like, what is the one part you're like, that's my takeaway?
Okay, this is hard for me because there are several takeaways because it's very good storytelling. It is the Tophis?
From the guy on the airplane.
Everything comes back around, and he says that, and he says it works, and then the Rolex, and it's like everything, and then he was like, "Hey, fuck this Rolex," and then the Chekhov's limo driver,
which we didn't talk about. The limo does come back at the end of the film because Argyle stops the getaway car with the limo by ramming it into the ambulance, which was actually too big to fit in the van. So it was clever editing to get a smaller one in there and stuff when I was researching the film.
Good storytelling.
Yeah. What about you, Jonsey? What is your favorite part of this film?
I really liked the final shootout where they're like in the room with all the glass.
Yeah.
Like, I thought the cinematography, they kept going to weird angles to catch them falling and like catch them getting shot. Like, they'd fully tilt the camera on a corner and like film it that way. And it was 80s over the top, but it was still very like, oh, I see. Like, I could tell that it was something new at that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
And it was still something that was and it was the one I think that was to the music, which is why I like, after I wrote about it, I was like, this is 100% a Christmas movie.
I know you texted. Wow, I'm assuming you were texting while you're watching this because I get a text like, how can somebody not say this is a Christmas movie?
You texted us and you're like, this is absolutely a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It is thoroughly. They use Christmas so much in it. Like, come on.
Yeah. I think my favorite scene in the whole film is when Alan Rickman is going through the halls doing his investigation and he runs into Bruce Willis's character for the first time, and he pretends to be an American that's at the party and all of that. Like, for some reason, I really love how they did that scene in this film, and plus all the action scenes. But that when they filmed that particular scene, they didn't rehearse it. It was all like the first take. That's what they did. And that's what they got because the director wanted that nervous energy between the two actors, which I thought was really interesting. But that's my favorite
pairings. What are our pairings?
Oh, yes. Pairings. We're going to do, Grace, get me a...
Dry martini.
Oui, monsieur.
Wait. 3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of quinoa lily. Shake it over rice and then add a thin slice of lemon peel.
It's drink. I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
Grace, give me a stinger.
I'm going to go first because I think I have a good pairing for this. So I would pair an adios motherfucker because of the line yippee-ki-yay motherfucker. And it's the
what is an
string.
adios motherfucker?
It's a shot.
Yeah.
Oh. Of
and
what?
sauerkraut for the Germans. That's what I would pair it with.
That sounds like vomit.
Oh,
that
yeah,
makes
exactly.
Me want to vomit.
Yeah. What about you, Brynne? What would you pair this film with? With a beverage of your choice and a little nibblies.
My beverage is sangria.
Sangria?
That's
Why?
what he drinks. That's what he drinks, and he takes it, and he's like,
oh, okay.
Back?
Who drinks it? Bruce Willis does?
Yes.
When on the plane?
Grabs it off of the...
Oh. when he first arrives to the party.
Yes. And
when
then
he
food. What
arrives
would
to
you
the
do
party,
with food?
Bruce Willis grabs a sangria, I think.
You
I think it was champagne.
It's probably champagne.
Okay. All right, then champagne. Now I will believe you and pair this with champagne and sashimi.
Oh, okay. Because it
I
was
like-
okay.
I
What
like the
about you,
Japanese
Jonesy?
cake. So one of those from the store sugar cookies with the frosting, the really thick frosting on top.
Yes.
But stale, like it's been left out at an office party.
And everybody's probably picked it up and thought about eating it and then put it back. Yeah. And
But
said,
it has to be stale. Everyone's had one when they're fresh. Everyone had one when they're stale. So
Yep.
stale, and then whiskey on the rocks, because I feel like that's what Bruce Willis's character would drink if he had a choice.
Oh, hell yeah. For sure. He would have been a whiskey on the rocks. Yeah.
Yes. I feel like that is the ultimate Die Hard Christmas pairing.
I think you take the prize this week with the pairing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna get back to a name drop. So we picked at the middle of the show Bruce Willis to Carol Kane, right?
I don't even know who that is.
So
let me look it
how
up.
are we gonna mesh these two? How do they find themselves together? Did you get it, Brynne?
I want us to do this together.
Okay. Oh God.
So Carol Kane was in Princess Bride.
With Billy Crystal was in that too, right?
Yep.
Billy Crystal.
Carrie Elwes, Robin Wright Penn.
There's a lot of people in that film.
So many. What has Bruce Willis been in?
Oh God, this is gonna be a hard one. Let's see. Bruce Willis is in. I'm cheating. I'm looking this shit up.
Don't, guys. If you can think it up, we didn't think it up.
I
We
know.
didn't do it tonight.
We usually
and so
are
we're
really
relying
top of
on
it.
you.
Yeah, you know what? Let's leave this for next week.
Yeah, let's leave it for next time. And you guys, if you are smarter than us, which you probably all are, let us know. Put it in the comments or email us.
So DM us on Instagram, Filmspringa. Let us know how you did name drop getting the roadmap from Carol King to Bruce Willis.
Okay, we started it for you guys. So Bruce Willis from Sixth Sense and Carol Kane from Princess Bride.
Princess Bride. She was in Lemon Sisters. If anybody has seen that movie, I think I'm like the only person
You
who ever
guys
seen
let
that
us
movie.
know. We trust you.
Yeah. Okay, now it is time to give our grades of this film. So what did we give it last week, Jonsey?
So I think that you guys might both switch. Brynne gave it a B.
Oh,
I don't feel like that's
she
going to
gave it an A.
No, Tony gave it an A.
I did?
Yes, Tony gave it an A and Brynne gave it a B.
Okay, Brynne, what do you give it now? Are you going to stick with the B?
I give it an A.
You give it an
A. I knew that was happening.
Give it an A now.
Okay. I think I'm going to stick to an A for this. I might bump it up to an A+ just because I forgot
better than I remembered. Yeah.
How kind of sexy Bruce Willis is in this film. And being in COVID times at home.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give it a B+ or A+. Okay, Jonesy, what about you? What is your grade for this film? Watching it for the very, very first time ever, and does it get a stamp in the Filmspringa passport for all the other sheltered people who listen to this show that are going to be experiencing these films for the first time along with you? Is this one you're going to recommend to them?
100%. This is in the passport. You need to watch this if you have not watched it. And I give it an A+.
Wow. Okay. I didn't think you were gonna.
I really enjoyed this film. It made me laugh. It made me literally laugh out loud several times. I was invested through the whole thing. I kept thinking, like, what else are they gonna blow up? There's
right.
And then something else would blow up, and it was great. And somehow that building did not topple.
So watching it for the first time, Jonsey, would you agree that this is probably one of the best action films ever made?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
As far as like, because a lot of the action films that I think that came after, like, I feel like the ones that I feel like are the best, I would say they're like action comedy or action drama. Like, whereas this, I feel like is an action movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
Like I feel like someone was like, how can we make an action movie a Christmas movie? Like that was the only conversation that was had.
Right? And you would think when you watch this
who
film,
said this isn't one? Write me.
And you would have think watching this film that all of the twists and turns and all of the little things sprinkled out would have been something that just took a long time to plan. But the fact that they kept like kind of writing the film or changing the film as they went along and this stuff got added in. I mean, come on. It's so good.
Yes. And plus I love like the weird German accents where they're going to blow you up. I love all that shit.
The weird German accent. Oh my god. All right, let's talk about the next film we're gonna do. Our next film is gonna be for a Christmas episode, which is gonna be out next week, right after this show. So you guys are gonna get 2 shows like at once. But the next film we're gonna be watching is the 1988 Scrooge with Bill Murray, which I am super excited about. This one I'm excited about.
My favorite movie in the world.
Yes. I love this film. I remember watching it as a kid for a long time. It's been a while since I've watched it, and I loved Carol Kane in this film. I think she's hilarious. It's a really good film in my opinion. So Jonesy,
we have a special treat next time, right?
Yes. We're gonna be very much into the festival or the festive season, the holiday season on our next episode. So Jonesy, what do you think this film is about? I mean, it's kind of a giveaway, but what do you think it's about?
I know this is a Christmas Carol, just set in an 80s business world. I think I'm pretty sure on that one.
That's pretty spot on.
Yeah, that's really
But
good.
that's pretty much all I know about this movie. And Bill Murray's in it, and it's supposed to be funny and crass like most things Bill Murray does.
Yes.
So
yes, it's going to be a good episode. I'm excited for this one because I know this is Brynne's favorite film. One of her favorite films of all time is Scrooge.
And another version of A Christmas Carol is one of my favorite movies of all time. A Muppets Christmas Carol.
A Muppets Christmas Carol is so good.
Because you've seen it.
Yeah, we can't do it. You've seen it.
Love it. Love
so one thing we didn't cover that I wanted to is you have a children's book of Die Hard, Brynne, that you've read to your daughter, right?
Right.
For all of the people who are watching us on Out at TV and on our YouTube channel, you'll be able to see the actual book. Brynne's holding it up right now. It is a child's book version.
I will record myself playing this for you guys.
Yes. Reading the child's book version of Die Hard, which I think is amazing. Where did you get it from?
So you can play it on Christmas Eve.
Where did you get it?
You did? Gift someone gave me.
That's a good friend.
Someone wanted me to have the gift of Die Hard.
For children.
For children. I love it. I love it. Brynne, you have to read it as you're reading it to a large crowd of children.
I'm going to do it in front of the tree.
Yes.
And I will read it in a soothing voice.
Yeah, it'll be highly entertaining. But so next week's going to be our big Christmas episode. We are doing Scrooge, and that is it for us this week. You can follow us on Instagram. We are Filmspringa. You can email us at filmspringapodcast@gmail.com. We want to hear from you guys. If you have any movie recommendations that you want to expose Jonesy to, send them to us. DM them to us. Email them to us. You can listen to us every week anywhere you get podcasts. And if you go on Apple Podcasts, leave us a great review, a 5-star rating. It'll help us out a lot. And you can watch us every Friday night on Out at TV app. We are there. They have so much good content now on Out at TV. They have my other show, Who Invited Her, which we do, which you can watch there every Tuesday night. They have What a Shit Show, which Grotesque and Kevy Kev do. If you haven't seen it, it's really funny. They have a lot of really good shows on there, so go check out Out TV. And that is it for us this week, and we will see everybody next week with Scrooge. Bye.